we get some stuff done. Okay, so for everybody outside there, welcome everybody. This is our Community Treasury Governance Call, Thursday today, the third governance call this week already. And today we are talking again about the Shimmer Treasury Governance Framework to develop and make it happen so that we have a proper governance framework for the Shimmer network once or after it goes live. We are a group meeting quite often already here, and so basically we try to move forward in a proposed framework and basically clearing up open questions in the document and work through all topics that we think that need further discussions and further clarifications, and really try to come to a couple of decisions in every meeting so that we step by step move forward into finalizing this first version of the whole thing. We basically could just go through a short recap of the things we decided in the last meeting on Tuesday. See if we have to revisit anything from that or if it's kind of pretty clear for everybody and everybody kind of agrees. And then we can move on to just some of the next topics that we have in the list and start checking up and checking out what's going on with this. Yeah, I think this everybody knows already. So that's the three-phase approach for the governance framework. There's a big document. The link are in the governance announcement channels to those both documents. And so I also have it here in the slide deck. So the slide deck is also linked in the governance announcement channel. And so basically you have the working document of the governance framework, and then we have a document where we collected all the open questions and the issues and have defined some tasks and DRIs and stuff, and also where we log which decisions we have already done. Yes, so I just copied this here inside. So these are basically, I think we have 2-3 pages of this, the things that we have been talking already, and some of them are also already solved. Wait, but didn't I have something? Let me check something. I think I didn't. I put them here. Yeah, okay, wait. This one here. So I think these have been the topics we have been that we have been talking about in the last meeting on Tuesday. So we talked about the roles or the difference between forum admins and moderators. I think we are clear that the admins need to be employees of the IF because we need full access to the back end of the forum. All governance moderators should be coming from the community. We agreed that we are happy to start with 5. Yeah, I think this was what we said. And basically we have now Andy, JD, and also Overclocked kind of fixed for now and still are open and looking for minimum 2 more people from the community that would like to become a mod. It's not very urgent, yeah. So this would be then required once the whole thing goes live. So if anybody thinks, yeah, that sounds like a cool thing, sounds interesting, we will define very clear requirements and tasks that the mods have to do. Maybe a couple of hours per week So definitely not as challenging as being a mod in the Discord or something, but a couple of hours per week should be available um, to do some administrative stuff in the governance forum around the proposals. And we'll see how this goes on and how much work this in the end will really be. Um, we also have been talking about most of the other roles that we have to define in the forum. Basically, I think we should definitely talk more and further about some of the responsibilities for the moderators. This maybe we can do this today. And also we cleared a bit the organization of the categories in the forum. Think we kind of pretty much agreed to have like a, a governance, or we call it, I think, Shimmer governance proposals main category, and then we just divert into phase 1 and phase 2 with subcategories. We would have a phase 3 subcategory for announcing that a vote is happening. And we also would have like an archive category where we will move proposals once they are finished. So either they are declined or they have been accepted and the vote has been done in Firefly. So then they would be there, moved from a moderator into an archive that everything is still available and publicly visible that has been decided in the past. I think, yes, maybe what I'll do, I'll go here in the framework document. You guys see it? I think it will make sense if we just maybe really go through the things from top to down. So we
Can, can we
are,
can
yeah.
we just can we just like because I think the idea was to have the Tuesday meeting be sort of like an action meeting,
Mhm.
potentially go into side groups to work on something, bring something tangible, which we did last Friday,
Yeah.
such as the roles and moderators. And then Thursday was going to be the kind of okay, a side group got something tangible. Tuesday, we then went over it, kind of confirmed it, and then Thursday, the confirmation. So just, I
Mhm.
think, to fully confirm the three mods, and then also make available if there's anyone in this meeting that hasn't been involved in any of the other two meetings discussing moderators. Generally what we talked about is that this is going to be a minimum kind of anywhere from 2 to 4 hours that moderator has that time dedicated to moderate the governance uh, discourse website and basically reviewing proposals, making sure that they fit certain criterias to move on through the phases. We're not choosing any proposals to pass or reject it on a bias. It's just basically does it fit certain framework. Also making sure that any of the discussion isn't aggressive or negative in nature to hurt anyone. So just putting it out into this group today, is there anyone that would like to volunteer to be one of the other two positions, or thinks any of the three, Overclock, Deep Sea, and Andy, should not be a moderator? Just putting it out to the group. Maybe going once, twice, three times. Okay, so I think we can
Well,
then go
I
ahead, Andy.
think yeah, I think that was a little fast. I think what we should do is not a. I think asking people if they want to be a moderator on the spot is always a little difficult. Some of us are easier at raising our hands than others. So I think what we should probably do is kind of have it as a general question that we just after each meeting, hey, any interest in becoming a moderator? That we
I mean,
just send out to the committee.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Like
we're gonna have to communicate this too when we finish the questions. So there's gonna be more time. But I mean, again, the Thursday meeting is supposed to be like the group, the community, those that are active in building this, you know, confirm what we discuss and build on the private meetings, and not private, but the small groups, and then the Tuesdays meetings. So like now we can go through these quick discussions, and click solved, and then we don't have to discuss it anymore, right? Like we brought it up in both meetings. But like for us, for the three moderators, like at some point the group should at least have a chance to either say yay or nay, right? And if Tuesday, yay or nay, okay, no one objects. Thursday, no one objects. No one objects to the discussions and the decisions that we've made, then boom, set in stone. Move on to the next one, milestone complete. We still have the two moderator positions, and that's only a minimum. So, and we should open it up to spec in general, but I think we can do that later when it's better communicated, because we're gonna have to write up articles and stuff for this anyways. You know what I mean, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that like doing the 1, 2, 3 vote now or forever hold your peace is not the official process.
Well, I mean, that's more for us, for anyone to object against us, you know, because like we got to make decisions somehow and
Yeah.
log those. So,
Let
but if we look at Philo's spreadsheet real quick, you know, again, like what he said is admins are IF, moderators are community. Um, there's the selection process for criteria of a moderator is just having some history in the community and having 4 hours a week. There will be no rewards or payments by default, especially since we don't have a treasury. But if we do get a treasury and people put a proposal in to fund moderators within the ecosystem, that's always an option. But starting off, no. Um, and then when we talk about these phases, we discussed that in phase 1 to 2, really any mod or admin can progress that proposal. But when it starts going from phase 2 to phase 3 or phase 3 to Firefly, with that transition, we would need at least 2 moderators, so kind of like 2 community persons, or 1 moderator, 1 admin. So it's kind of more community focused. And then, of course, the admins, the IF is always overseeing everything. The moderator terms length of time is just open ended, and then, you know, kind of, and it's good because people have continuity. So, and that could be discussed at a later time. Admins are selected by the IF, and so if again anyone, if you've been keeping up with it or have a question on any of those, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to click these solved. We discussed this in the Tuesday's meeting, but if anyone wasn't there, does anyone have any questions on the roles or moderators questions in this meeting that might have not had a chance to raise their hand? Okay. So if we maybe click these solved,
yeah.
unless anyone has an against that. But again, if someone missed a meeting and they really want to go back and touch that, of course, we're always open to discuss that. So
Mhm.
do you want to click those solved, Philo?
That's yeah. Um,
Okay.
One thing I think actually, Andy, this was what I will do is basically I will put a post also in the governance announcement, asking again for people if they want to be moderator. Yeah, that it's a bit more public in out of this meeting. Maybe we can also even, if we don't find anybody in the next couple of weeks, we even maybe go through and make it really more public. Yeah, so basically we had the defined roles as in a document. So we had this governance forum members, forum voters, proposal submitters, voters in Firefly, moderators, and admins. I think we are clear that those are the roles. The differences between forum admins and moderators, I think that's also clear. Yeah, so admins from the IF, moderators from the community. Um, the selection process for the moderators currently also clear. Yeah, so 5, everybody can propose himself to become. A reward or payment in the moment not available. If we get a treasury, definitely we should think about, and actually we should do this, I think. Then we had the question, how many moderators are required to approve a phase 2 post, and how many are required to move it into Firefly. We said that for approving it to phase 2 so that it gets a poll, it's okay that one moderator is enough. But for making a Firefly vote out of this whole thing, we will need minimum 2 moderators or 1 moderator and 1 admin looking through all the requirements, checking everything, so that we can really be sure that the things that come into Firefly are absolutely solid. Yeah, I think we can also agree on this. Moderator terms, open-ended in the moment. I think nobody objected against this. Forum admins selected by the IF. The proposal template structure. This is definitely something we can look again. Last time we said that we was a really good idea that we add an extra field where the submitter already fills in the texts that would come into Firefly, so that we have this already in the template or in the proposal directly. So basically, that in the end this can just be then copy pasted to create the vote in Firefly. Maybe we can talk about this in detail a little bit more if there is need to clarify things.
That's a good point. I mean, if it was in any document, because really the Firefly is a set code. All you're doing is putting in the questions,
Yeah.
the possible answers, and I guess there's no way to automate
Yeah.
the milestone number, huh?
Nah, you have to. I mean, I think we actually have a tool, or engineering has a tool. I mean, it's basically it's pretty easy to calculate them. We just would be cool. I can maybe ask if we have something that will give us where you just put in the exact time and date, and you get those milestone numbers directly without having to calculate, because then you also can do mistakes. So basically, a little script would be great. I think basically Muxa has something like this. Don't know how user friendly it is, because I'm sure it's just made for coders. So I think we can handle something there. And then basically, I think we definitely will need to make a little guide, a little doc, basically for everybody, how basically which fields are important, what do they mean, and how basically do you remove old text and put new text in, and also for the mods and everybody, that they exactly know what is important in this participation event to check. How does it needs to look like, because in these things, because it's kind of code, so basically one wrong comma on the wrong place can make the whole thing unusable. So this is something where it's a bit tricky, and especially it needs to be absolutely 100% correctly done. Otherwise, the nodes potentially won't count the votes and stuff like this. So we might even think about that in the end. We will maybe need um, a dev or somebody from the Hornet team or something do like a final checkup or something like that. Yeah. So we can clarify this basically, because if they will be they anyway need to be updated or uploaded to the IOTA Foundation nodes. And so I think we could think about having like a sanity check in the end from the operator of the IOTA Foundation nodes that are connected with Firefly. Basically, they're anyway going to do this. Yeah. So I know Thomas will not basically implement a wrong written or a formal wrong participation event. I mean, they won't care what is the text, but they will basically really check that there is not a comma missing or some of the fields wrong, so or that the stuff is not. But we should definitely write this a little bit out and make a little guide or something doc about how this works, and then so that it's easier for everybody to understand what are the important requirements on this.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a little how-to doc
Yeah.
in the beginning, then we can start testing things out. And
Yeah.
I'm sure some dev or someone can help us, where you
Mm,
copy paste and it shows any errors, if
yeah.
there's any errors, and and then someone from the UI side to make it user
Yeah.
friendly.
I just add a note here in the end that we should visit it again, and maybe somebody, maybe if I find a time, because I've done it a couple of times now, or like 2 3 times now. It's not really complicated. Maybe I can do some screenshots and something like this over the weekend. See if I can make a little how-to document and put in what is important to take care about. Um,
We should
next.
also, I mean, I
Hmm?
don't know if they do it to support the community for free, but like if you made like a template and then we can give it to the IOTA content DAO, and maybe they would
Oh,
spruce it up and make it nice. Oh,
oh,
we can ask
yes.
Linus.
We
Is,
can
is Linus
always.
here?
I think not. We can always ask. Yeah, that's basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't need to make like a fancy design layout stuff for that, but make it nice and usable and especially intuitive, understandable for also for kind of layman's that might be the ones that create a proposal. It shouldn't.
Mhm.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't be difficult, or it should not hinder people from proposing something because they just see that there is a requirement for making such a complicated code thing where they say, ah, no, that's like, nah, that's too much for me. Uh, I keep my idea for myself. Yeah. So we don't
Mhm.
want this. So we want to have it user friendly and easy. And I think maybe really we can also, if the moderators know how to do it and there's really somebody coming and say, hey, I have a cool proposal here, but I'm really afraid I can't, even with the guide, I can't do this. And then I think, I mean, it's basically 3 minutes work to do this thing. So it's then we can just maybe just help, yeah, and
Mhm.
putting in the text in the right fields, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but then it's good to have it in the proposal template because then the people can already say, hey, like, I actually have no idea what I should fill in there.
Mhm.
Can somebody help me with this? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we had a thing here that was if there is an exclusion metric to move, or if there is something like okay, this is considered spam or this is not interesting or something. I think I had this text in the beginning in the document. Basically, I removed it. Because I think in the beginning there was something written like, okay, if a proposal in phase one does not pick up interest or doesn't really seem to be picked up by the community, a moderator will not allow it to become a phase two proposal. Uh, Basically, I think the best would be really to remove such a subjective requirement and just really stay on the facts. Yeah. So even if there is no interest in a thing, but if people want to get it into phase two and get a poll out of it, and it fulfills all the specifications and the requirements to be a poll, um, and it is some kind of belonging to the IOTA tech or to the Shimmer protocol, then there shouldn't be any reason to not put it in phase two and then see what happens in 7 days. If nobody votes on it, it's gone. Yeah. So basically, this whole stuff I have removed from the framework. The text about this. I think JD, you also did some notes in the Discord about that. So basically, this is why I made solve because this whole thing is out of the framework in the moment, and we don't have
Yeah,
any subjective things in the protocol.
Again, I think we need some guiding principles that take away that subjectiveness,
Yeah.
but does regulate spam, such as, you know, is this proposal political based?
Hmm.
Like we don't do politics, religion. We don't segregate communities in the global community. Is it aggressive? Is it
Yeah.
basic? To me, always kind of a good thing is, does it support the the IOTA Shimmer assembly ecosystem in a positive manner? And right there, like, so if it's an illegal activity, if it's take all the Shimmer tokens and give it to Kim Jong, from Spec, like,
Yeah.
it's very easy to just say, yeah, that doesn't seem to support the ecosystem in a positive manner. So it's the mod's not making a judgment. The mod's just go into this bullet pointed guiding principles and saying, hey,
Yes.
this unfortunately doesn't meet guiding principle number one. Of course, there's always those gray area points. You can never get away from them. And then that person and moderators can then discuss that. And really, if the community in that phase one shows, hey, yes, I don't know. I don't know what that gray area would be, but
Mm.
let's just say somehow it sounds like it's political, but really it's not political. Then that discussion can happen. And if the community decides to push that on and
Yeah.
believes that it is positive for the IoT ecosystem, then why not?
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
thing. It shouldn't be very restrictive. I mean,
right.
we have this guiding principles. We will have like the same rules that our mods use in the IOTA Discord. We have those Discord community guidelines that it needs to be, let's say, family friendly and all the things, not sexual harassive, nothing against minorities and all the things we will have anyway being part of the, let's say, of the rules uh, in the forum. And then basically a mod has, I think, always quite easy to say, sorry, but this does not follow rule number 7 or whatever. We can't allow posting this here. Yeah, but not just like, okay, it sounds like we don't like it. It's never a reason, but we should have clear, defined things. And later on, we have talked about this and what we would put in. So I think we can be pretty clear for the mods there.
And
Yeah.
I'll
So.
put
Mhm.
myself down there because maybe I can just work on a template of guiding principles, and then we can discuss that in a group or a meeting and try to work on those. I agree with you on the fact that I think in one.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna add. You, you can put me as well, and since we've already kind of talked about
Yeah.
it at length together, so
Okay.
I'll help with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna unclick that solve because we should have that. I think if that's right under the number question 14, is that kind of what we're looking at?
Mm.
But I was also going to say, I agree that we should keep it open where there's not a quantitative requirement from moving from phase one to phase two, such as interaction. I think that eventually we should have something, but it'd probably be good just to get it going so we can see
Yeah.
it, and then once it's tangible, we can see if there's spam coming in from phase one to phase two, because maybe phase two the channel will get too overloaded with discussion proposals that people don't
Mhm.
engage with, and then in that case we might need to regulate that spam to keep it more in phase one. But I think it's good to start off just
Yeah.
allowing anyone to get into phase two as long as they're meeting the principles,
Yeah.
um, and then we can adjust from there. So
That's
cool.
correctly.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
idea.
Cool.
Taking it out.
Um, then the next would be the trust levels thing. There is going to be tomorrow with Antonio. We will meet and I think talk especially about this. So maybe we just skip this for now. This is, I mean, for the information for the people that listen in, this would be discourse. The forum offers several ways of defining requirements. Once a member would be allowed to take part in a poll, and so basically we're thinking about having like but only really like a very basic protection against somebody that wants to create 100 different accounts and to kind of influence the polls. There are some pretty good techniques available, and especially also Antonio is kind of a crack in all these things. Potential having even a bot or something, and IP filter and stuff like this. So we were going to talk about this in detail a bit with Antonio tomorrow and come up, I think, with some good recommendations that would would make it difficult for the worst attempts of creating multiple accounts there. Yeah, so should we move this to the detailed discussion then with tomorrow, or should we want to talk about more about this?
I think tomorrow's good, and then we'll bring it back next Thursday to what we
Yeah,
came up with to see if anyone has any comments, rejections, or support on it.
yeah,
Uh,
that's a good thing, I
did
think.
we come up with a time yet?
I have to not yet. I'll check later, but I think you and Andy have been pretty easy with everything. Let's see basically what Antonio prefers. I'm also quite flexible as long as it's yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's Friday. It's
Yeah, it seems
yeah,
like I know Antonio's got kids, right? So you're probably more flexible than he is.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then we kind of put our times up. So whatever works for you guys, we're happy to jump
Okay,
on it.
cool. Yeah. Next thing would be the question, can a new forum post automatically be forwarded to Discord if it is tagged with phase 1, 2, and 3? Yes, this can. We already have the bot there. So, I mean, as soon as there is a new post in the forum, it already gets forwarded. And this can also happen if it is tagged, basically proposed in the category. So that's the thing. We had some more questions on this. I think if there would be, if it would be possible to include this posting also into other communities like Telegram channels or Reddit or stuff like this. Um, Basically, this is also something that we can ask Antonio, but I'm pretty sure there are bots for most of this. And so also we can really offer this if, let's say, if another community has a Discord like Einfach IOTA or whatever, or even project discourse like Sooniverse or something, if they want to get notifications from this bot, this definitely will be easy to implement. This bot can forward all the new posts to all kind of community forums. And so basically this would be yes. And then we just have to think about how do we offer it, or actually do we ask around in the community and offer this and say, hey, if you have a community, a Discord or a Telegram group, and you want to get info over new posts, it's available. Just contact Antonio or me, or because this only admins can do. But like I said, we can easily set this up. So that's basically, I think, solved. Yeah.
Sure. Just for clarity, so for the Discord one, it would for each, I guess, let's say phase 2 vote, it would create its own sub channel,
No, no, that's not
or they
possible.
all be in one channel.
They will all be in one channel. So we could make here in the governance category, we could make, okay, phase 1 proposal, phase 2 proposal, phase 3 vote. So we would make 3 channels, and then every new one gets posted into this channel. Yeah. So
Mm.
as soon as there is a new from a moderator approved phase 2 post, it this post will also automatically trigger the bot, and in the channel it will appear. But it will not
Yeah,
have its own channel then, because we could do this if we want to have discussions here in the Discord about it, but then this would need to be done by a moderator in the Discord manually.
yeah. I mean, that's would be my idea that I think is best. And to be
Hmm.
honest, I think that was very similar to what Overclock wanted. That basically we're using Discord as a
Yeah.
space to discuss a proposal that's going to be in a Firefly proposal. So I think if we distinguish, like, phase 1 is just people hey, should I take this to a poll? Phase 2 is where you do your poll runoff. And to me, that we can quantify that phase 2 to how much interaction it is. And then goes to phase 3, which is like, this is the poll that is going to be exactly how it is in Firefly. The no changing, no poll runoff, no nothing.
Mhm.
And if that gets traction, then it goes to Firefly. So the spam vetting is really in phase 2, and then phase 3. To me, it would be cool if, again, if we have thousands of proposals, it's not going to work. But I don't think we're going to have that many. But so if anything makes it to phase 3, it then gets its own channel for that specific vote so that people can discuss in there, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because again, I think we said like it'd be nice if people discuss in Discord and other social medias and then come to the discourse and they've put their one thought out,
Yeah.
like to limit the back and forth discussion that needs to be moderated really. So rather keep that in the Discord. But I mean, we could try different
Mhm.
things. I mean, I don't think we have to stick with one thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we basically would say that we establish an own channel for once things get into a vote, we make definitely a channel in Discord where the people can chat about this specific proposal. Yeah.
For phase 3 ones,
Yeah.
or we could say final phase because we haven't really
Mhm.
confirmed the phases, but
Yep. Yeah, this is, I mean, we could either make a channel or we could make a thread because a thread might be nice because the thread automatically close after 7 days. So if there is no more, because after the vote is finished, I think the discussions normally will go down. And then because otherwise we would also have a lot of dead channels that we will have to delete, and the threads they will automatically disappear once a vote has finished and the discussions are off. Yeah.
Is there a way that we can create or like move some channels into like entire channels into like archive channels or
Yes, of course.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
because
of course.
I think it'd be good if we start to see proposals that start to
Mhm.
look similar to other ones to see how those discussions happened because one of the things that's always like what we found out with Dow Pioneers, everybody's producing so much material
Mhm.
that it's sometimes hard to read. But there are like a lot of people who are having the same discussions we are, and they're coming up with similar solutions. So it's always good to see their process. And I
Mhm.
think it would be good for us to have kind of that history at least somewhere stored. Maybe it's like archived proposals, and we can have a list of all the proposals channels. Is that
Yeah.
possible?
Um, yes, both. If you have threads, all the threads that have ever been in the Discord, they are still there. You basically they auto archive, so you're not directly visible, but everybody can open or can revisit an old thread and read everything up there. So it's never disappearing. It's just like not directly visible. You have to look for it. Um, but we also could make channels and then we could have an archive channel. This is then just a bit more manual work for the moderators in the Discord. Depends really on how much this is. If we have like 20 per week or something, then I can see that this gets a bit messy. So we would have to keep track on that. Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah.
So a thread will allow us to kind of automatically, let's say if there's a 2 week process and we already set it up for 2 weeks, when the vote happens, it'll automatically move it to, let's say it's hidden variety.
Yeah. So if there is 7 days no activity in a thread automatically disappears from the public visibility, but you can always in every channel if there has been a thread, you can always click on the channel and you can read the whole thread and you can also reactivate it as soon as there is a new comment happening, the thread will be publicly visible again for everybody.
My
And
suggestion
Philo-
for this would be that we just create a channel exclusively for these threads to be under this channel.
Yeah.
Then we could, because there's a problem with threads, you don't see when a thread is opened.
Yeah.
Or it's not that public, so we could like create a role and ping the role every time somebody creates a new thread. So
Oh.
people stay up to date
Yep.
on that.
Yep.
Maybe we can use the existing governance role at first and then move to another.
Yeah.
Video.
That's basically, I think, a pretty good thing. So we create a channel, and every proposal gets a thread.
Philo, is the
The-
Ave Grants DAO, is that a thread? I'm just trying to see the
That's a
difference between a
thread.
thread
Yes, there is. That's it. That's if we can make a channel like this. So basically, that
No,
you see, we can make the channel read only. Like this is because in this one you see there is you can't write yourself there because you don't have the rights, but you can enter every thread. You see every thread that is open there, and you can enter it, and then you can write and comment in the thread.
yeah, no, I think that's great. It's like a phase 3 channel, and then every vote goes under that, and I think, like you said, have the time limit so that when the vote closes or whatever, then it
Yeah. If interest dies out in the discussion, the thread will automatically close. It will still be visible there. You can reopen and revisit it, but yeah. So basically, it will always be available. No, it might also disappear from the channel, but there's always a function. You just click on the top. There's a little symbol, and you can open and unarchive all threads that have been there. Yeah. So basically, we keep this here. So I think this is something once we come to starting to test, we will just implement that and look basically how it looks. Yeah. What else? Category structure in the forum. I think last time we talked also about this. We are having this Shimmer governance proposals, and then phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and the proposal archive where the moderators move all proposals that are finished in any way into the archive, that all the discussions are basically archived there, and people see, okay, this has been decided and this has been declined. Are we good with this basically, or do we think we need
what question
this?
number is this?
I think if there's any confusion, it's archived. So
Yeah.
So if the basically proposal is rejected, we archive it and move it out. Right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, Milo?
Yeah, if it doesn't win the phase 2 something, then the moderator is just moving this whole discussion thread or this whole discussion from phase 2 category into the archive category and gives it a tag and that says, okay, declined. And then basically what you can do in the forum is you can also search for declined or accepted proposed. You can filter this belonging to the tag that it has, and then it's still everything there, but it's because it's finished, it's moving out of the active phase 2 proposals or phase 1 proposals, and it's just moving to the finished section and the archived section. So we have a full history of everything that was discussed and everything that was decided or declined, but move it out of the normal active discussion threads.
So you're putting that under 23 to move basically proposals that don't get passed on into an archive. section.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
I think also. That's basically mostly I also see this in other projects. Otherwise, you will have it's then confusing for readers if there are like old proposals and then still maybe somebody is posting or is writing something under it and then it shows up as something that is new, but actually it's already decided. And so I think it's good to move those things that are out, that are finished, move them out of the normal active discussions. Okay.
This
Yeah.
might be a little stupid and unrelated. I totally agree with archived. Right
Mhm.
now, you have in the DRI section. What does DRI stand for?
Direct responsible individual.
Okay. And I know JD and I are there. Marco, are you? First of all, is Marco on? No. But is it supposed to be Marco there, or is it supposed to be Overclock?
No idea actually.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who. Can we see who put that in there? Was that me?
Potentially we could see who was it, but basically it's
Anyway,
not really.
Yeah.
we can change that to overclock because that'll probably be
Uh,
admins and mods that
yeah.
kind
I
of.
mean, and anyway, if we have solved things, we don't need a DRI anymore for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah, I agree.
what is solved is solved. DRI is just making it solved. Once we got it, basically we can also remove the DRI stuff out of this because this is basically currently agreed. Maybe we can leave it there so we know actually who was involved in doing what in the end.
Maybe just leave it there.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it's solved unless anyone else in the group has a objection that basically, Shimmer governance and then our phases with an archive and again just a framework to get going and then we can always adjust as we see things in
Yeah.
action.
Okay. Cool. So this basically we keep it solved. We can always revisit things if really somebody comes up with something. But if not, then I think basically we move through and then, like you said, see once we have implemented things how they play out. Next point was, do we want to exclude certain times from the ability to submit proposals or to do votes like Christmas, New Year, and things like this? Actually, I think that's an interesting thing because
I brought this
you brought
I
this up.
brought this
That's
I brought it up because I've read in some case studies and others where it comes to how do you quantitate when a phase 2 proposal goes to phase 3 or phase 3 onto Firefly.
yeah.
And some of that is whether it's going to be a minimum of 100 likes or 100 votes
Mm.
or 5% of the 6-month average. But what some DAOs found was whatever their quantitative measure was, if they push the proposal through on, say, New Year's Eve when everyone's
Yeah, yeah.
hungover and sleeping and no one's voting, and then they have a couple of their friends go in and just vote, they pass this proposal through. So there's some sort of like blackout holidays,
Yeah.
and just to account for that, and but again, I think this to me that would be more under polls and voting category. And when we look at that, I don't know, that is kind of
Mm.
administration.
Ah,
I think once we figure out how to quantitate the
yeah.
polling and voting, then we'll be able to look at is it even a risk? Because if it's always a 2-week period or something or 1-week period, then maybe it's not really that much of a risk. And some of those other
Ah.
DAOs, maybe they were doing 24-hour
Maybe, or
proposals,
they have, yeah, sometimes they have also something that is just really like maybe a really short time. Some DAOs they do like 2 or 3 days, just yeah, and then you can really skip in such time. But I really like the idea. I just would not make maybe really only something Christmas and the first January week or something like this, where basically everybody is away from everything and kind of, I mean, we are still centralizing ourselves into like the Western hemisphere thing. But even, I mean, even here where I live, people don't care about Christmas, but New Year's Eve and the first week of the new year is kind of, it's everybody in the world is out of business basically. Yeah. So definitely we should revisit this, like you said, once the timing is confirmed.
And
Yeah, one of
go
the
ahead.
things that I was thinking about was maybe instead of doing a blackout period, just have an extended week for voting during that period.
Oh,
Could be.
yeah.
You know, so like if you submit it on Christmas now, you know, and this is Western Christmas, not Greek Orthodox
Mhm.
or Russian Orthodox, right? Obviously, all of these things are there's a lot of asterisks which create difficulties, right? New Year, which calendar? But I would say there's like that 3 week period from the
Yeah.
20th of December to the 5th or 7th of January, where a good portion of the world who's participating in what we're doing is going to be either on vacation or just not as functional. So maybe just have it as saying in this specific time gap, it's a 3 week process versus a 2 week process.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One
I think
thing,
that's
one thing I see with this, because if you still allow polling there, or I mean voting not, but polling, because if we would set any metric that says, okay, you need basically what we would say is that you will in 7 days you need minimum 50 votes in a poll or 100 votes in a poll. So basically then we would also need to extend this. Yeah. So if you say in seven in you require in 7 days 100 people taking part in the poll and you extend the time, then it's easier to reach this 100 people over this longer time frame. So either we think to extend then also the numbers required, or we go in the other way and say, okay, better we we remove this as a voting period completely, so that we don't have to mess up with the matrix itself. Yeah, but this,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but I think we're also talking about during a period in which we don't expect higher participation, so that's why we want to extend the time for the same number
Mm,
because I don't think during that time more people will necessarily
yeah,
actually
you could if
just
you,
because people are
yeah,
sitting around at home. It's kind
yeah.
of like how Candy Crush have its highest days on Christmas. Um,
Uh,
what if we have because you kind of I don't remember clearly specifically, but I believe you kind of have the weeks and set out. Is there
yeah,
a way we can put that in a calendar?
yeah,
Um,
of course.
and man, if there's any
And
way
then
we could put it in a calendar that it doesn't matter what year, I don't know if that's possible, but because then if we could visually see that, then we could say, hey, it's not even an issue, or maybe it is
potentially,
an issue, and
yeah,
adjust it.
or we would
Um,
just have to exclude one period or something like this that will fit. Yep. Yeah, I can. I mean, there are 1 million calendar apps. Uh, let's put this for a year. Let's visualize this in a sheet or in a calendar sheet and see basically would we even hit some of these critical dates in the next 1-2 years or something like this, um, and see if it's really worth of um, of defining it in detail or something like that. Yeah, that's cool. I'll do that. Yeah, that's
I was
pretty.
I was going to mention if that that's not like a little bit overthinking it, because it's the responsibility of the initiator to like find a date in which the proposal will get more track. You think so? That might be just
Yeah, I think
much detail.
basically what we don't want to help the proposer. Basically, we want to avoid that somebody uses this low activity time um, to basically push something through that in normal activity time where more people are aware of it wouldn't go through or would actually get a lot of voters against it. Yeah, so we have seen, like JD said, there are some have tried this really to put a really kind of some kind of malicious proposal that most people wouldn't have voted for or would have voted against in such times where there's actually nobody looking and nobody recognizing that something is happening, and then they just step in with their buddies and move things through under the like a little bit under the visibility thing. So it's more a protection against malicious attempts than yeah.
And also, Mariana, like, I remember correctly, isn't it like voting's going to go a certain time on Tuesday and go for so long? So maybe if we put that, like you said, as people can visually see the calendar and they go, okay, so I know I have to push, I know I have to make this vote, in phase 3 on Wednesday to give enough time to get it in Tuesday next week. So maybe if people have that visually, it'll be easier for them to plan, like you said, how they're pushing this through.
Yeah. Would they even put something up in between the because basically, like I said, like also Mariana, it would be kind of stupid to put up a proposal in these days where you see and you know that the participation will be super low and potentially your proposal will just fail because it will not meet any requirements. Then you basically just better wait for 2-3 weeks for the next circle in January where the people are back, if it's not like super urgent, or we could say kind of emergency for whatever, yeah. But I'll do that calendar and we see basically what would basically the dates be where people have to vote and have to be aware of that votes are happening, and I think that will potentially make it much easier to talk about this. Yeah. One thing next was this, which voting application web interface will be used. I marked this as solved because basically I think we should, I did it in the beginning, but I think we should not talk about things that are not there in this framework. Yeah. So there is in the moment no other technical solution for having a vote interface. I mean, Sooniverse is close. Sooniverse could do this, but it's not yet technically implemented in Sooniverse, and I don't know how they want to process with this part of their platform. So basically, I would, as long as there is nothing around, we don't need to put things like that could potentially come in the future. I wouldn't put it in the framework at all.
No, I agree, and I think even when it does come to voting on different interfaces, then all of a sudden there's going to be reputation systems, DID systems, and one person, one vote, which I think is all good to discuss. But I think those proposals should actually go through the proposal framework.
That's the thing.
Because they're just such a big. I mean, I like in the beginning, time tested, tried and true, which so far is Firefly, that it's time tested and working pretty good. So, and then if someone once that technology is there, someone can just submit a proposal to, test it or change it, and if the community wants that, then so be it.
Anyway, that's the thing. As soon as somebody wants something new or wants something more or a new system or a new application for voting, really it should be proposed. Hey, let's also include Sooniverse voting functionality in this whole thing. Do some specifications for it, put it up in the proposal, community agrees on it, and then it gets included into the document as an accepted, agreed voting method. Bang.
Boom.
Yep. Alrighty, we keep this out of the whole thing, and that also makes the whole thing a little bit smaller already again. What else? Do we create an archive post section in the forum where all submitted proposals that have received a unique blah 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 are listed and linked for easy navigation and lookup? So that was basically what we said about the category with archive, where all the old proposals are stored and people can filter and can look up what has happened. I think that is.
So will Discourse be able to provide sort of like a Google Sheet that has every single proposal and all the proposal ID numbers?
I think this might be possible. I think Discourse has a lot of export functions as I think basically you can export all data and everything as CSVs. I'll make a note. I can look that up if you can also propose if you can also, like you said, extract let's say titles and tags of all posts. Not the full text, but just like you said, something um, like a list with numbers and text phase one accepted, declined, so that we would have something in an Excel sheet. Okay.
Yeah. Or a Google Doc, Google Sheet, or Sooniverse has that.
Yeah. A
That one
CS
that's tied there.
file of. I'll look it up. Maybe I'll find it, or basically the Discourse has great documentation and a forum. I looks for me like we can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet we could.
Yeah. And what else? Another one we have. Who shall be responsible to create the potential runoff polls in phase 2? Do we require this to be done by the proposal submitter or by a moderator? We also talked about this last week already. My opinion was then really to have all these responsibilities of managing how your proposal will be done and seen, and put this all on the shoulders of the submitter and not on a moderator or something, because in the end I think this will always, if there is a delay of a couple of the people, then can cause discussions and things. Yeah. So I'm kind of a fan of say, okay, that's your proposal, it's your responsibility. If you make a poll with 10 options, but you know that in the end only 2 or 3 can make it through, then you will have to take care that you then create 2 or 3 runoff polls until you get the decision that you want. But this shouldn't be the job of the moderator to do this.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Does anyone disagree with that? Or does anyone have any thoughts on that one? So maybe we click that as solved. We'll just put it on the proposer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basic. It's really, I think it's also the most logical thing. Yeah. It's kind of, you want to change the system. You have a really passion in getting things done, things changed, things implemented. You have to take care that people know that there is a proposal, that you activate them, that they know they have to do a second poll or whatever, that all the requirements are set. Otherwise, kind of your idea will die out because you messed it up. Yeah. So and you shouldn't be able to push responsibility to a moderator or somebody that is only just checking the formal requirements, but it's not the job of kind of the community support here to help somebody lift his proposals through all the stages. That's the job of the person that wants to change something. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, really, like you said, they get to add that, and the moderators and admins still look at it. It's just they won't look at it until it gets pinged for, hey, it's ready for the next phase.
Yeah.
So That seems pretty self-explanatory to be a good way.
Okay. Is everybody still with us, or are we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one here. That would be. I think also I proposed this already the last week, and this was kind of a change in my initial idea of having like another copy of the original post in phase 3. So basically, my idea is still to say phase 3 is basically only a Firefly vote and an announcement post by a moderator that says, okay, there was this proposal, it passed through phase 1, it passed to phase 3 with a poll with this result, blah, blah, blah. This proposal will now move to Firefly. The vote will happen on day XY, and bang, that's it. And this would be all what phase 3 is about, to really announce that something will come to a vote and initiate the vote in Firefly. Bang. And not have another post from the submitter happening again. That would just be the copy of basically what was already discussed in phase 2.
Yeah, I think the proposal runoff thing kind of, I don't know. I wonder if we just table that until we maybe make that a group that wants to really dive into the phases and a bit.
Yeah, did we do something like really go through the work? Maybe we can really play through some of these workflows with some potential proposals and can think through this thing. Maybe that's a good thing to put it into put some more thoughts into this flow especially from phase 2 to phase 3, and also what really should be in 1 and what should be in 2. And okay, who would have fun to go through those thought experiment with me?
I'm always down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the usual are always down.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I would also. I think one of the things that we keep on seeing is a lot of men participating. So if we can have volunteers who, let's say, are not us, it would also be great. And I think Mariana had a great input, so maybe can I volunteer you to participate? Hey,
I could do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariana's
Yes.
got the governance study, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I can check with Mariana as well. Maybe both of us could. I think maybe she's
I'm
not in the
here.
call
Yeah.
anymore.
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
here.
there
I'm
you are.
here. Sorry, I didn't found the chat. Sorry. Yeah, I can also do it. No worries. Like we can take a look together.
Yeah.
Do we want to can we do this on Monday maybe? Andy, does that work for you?
Monday, anytime in the morning of the Central European time will be great.
Okay.
Well, considering that I was
For me,
talking,
Monday works.
I can do Monday 9 a.m. Pacific time.
What's that
Which
in Central? What is
Oh,
that?
you're in the US, right? You're in
Yeah,
the
I've been-
US, you're not in Europe. Yeah, it has to be in the afternoon, Mariana, because you're in the US.
It's 9 a.m. though. Like 5?
yeah,
Ah, sure. Let's do it.
5
Yeah.
works for me as well.
So can you set up the call, please?
I will set up the call just to see. So it is with Deep Sea and Andy, right?
we could just do that here in general voice.
In the general voice. Perfect. Yeah. I will
And
send the
then,
blocker to you, Mariana.
Philo, does that work for your time?
Always. What is this? This is 5 CST or something?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. Sorry. You're even. God, and then it's super late for you.
No, it's
Yeah.
same like today, no problem. Yeah.
Well, I think it would be
Can't
1
see
hour
anyone.
later.
Mm.
Right?
I
wait,
will.
no,
We'll
no.
see.
Right now is 9:15 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
And
Andy,
here it's 6:14, so yeah, it's the same time as this call.
Andy, can you do 8 a.m.? Is that pushing it too much?
I need to still get married.
All right, that'll be a late night for Philo, but if he's down, we always appreciate it.
We'll see. Well, no worries with this.
We can always we could then discuss it again on Tuesday, but I think
Yeah. Yeah.
Monday we could probably bang that out. Hopefully,
Yeah. Or maybe I'll skip Monday and we'll just see what you think on Tuesday or something like this. I mean, I don't need to sit in everything. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, Philo.
Yeah.
No problem. That's cool. Maybe we do. Hey, basically we only have 2 left here. What's going on? Okay.
Well, someone hit a lot of columns, so or
Yeah.
sorry, a lot of rows, which threw me off. I didn't know what was going on there. What was the point? But not a big deal.
Okay, then this was the thing. I mean, this is maybe something that we really will have to go through this whole thing in detail. Maybe I also maybe really need to show you basically how this whole thing works with the participation event, with GitHub, because we just see it today with the thing. There is you need a certain knowledge of GitHub to make such a participation event for the nodes available. And so basically we will need either that the moderators learn how to do this. So create the event and then create a pull request for it and basically have the pull request checked and merged at the right time in the right repository for the nodes. So that's a bit of a skill. The question would basically be, do we want this to be a job for the moderators, or do we say, okay, that's something we require either Antonio and me, or either somebody that is kind of okay and knows already how to do this, or we say, um, no, a moderator will need to learn this as a requirement of being a moderator, or are we more flexible with this and say, okay, there's like normally always somebody available, either Antonio or me or somebody from the IOTA Foundation engineers that can basically do the job of pushing this participation event through GitHub so that it is available for the node operators.
But my thought is, again, to put as much as we can on the community and the submitters, because that kind of, if we do it in the beginning as a foundation, it can help support kind of scaling.
Mhm.
What I do think would be good is, and if since you've got the time, I shouldn't say you have the time, but you're getting paid for the time.
Yeah.
If we have a really good how-to that a community member who hasn't used GitHub, so in that how-to, set up a GitHub account, blah blah blah. This is how you go from start to finish if you've never used GitHub. If we have that can basically go step by step for the community, that supports the moderators as well. And I think we're like, I don't know how to do it. I know GitHub a bit though, but I
Mhm.
guarantee with that how to, I'll know it, and then we can support the community. I do think somewhere in that process there should be a check before it goes live by either
Yeah.
moderator and admin,
Yeah. I mean,
IFTF team,
anyway,
something.
yeah. I think it will be it's really complex for some members, and also the final the final. I mean, this is the basic. Can somebody maybe turn off the music there somewhere? Kind of really. Otherwise, I will have to mute you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically, GitHub is is always relying on these checks and double checks. Yeah, so I think we could create a guide that says, okay, here is how you set up a GitHub account. Here is, but it's like it's pretty complex if you have never done it, to especially create a pull request from your GitHub account into a repository of either the community or the IOTA Foundation GitHub, where this is currently hosted. And then there's always need to be somebody to approve this, because we will not, we should never allow anybody to just push things into the live version without having some approver there. I mean, this is the basic principle of GitHub, that all changes that happen to whatever happens in GitHub has to go through an approval process where several people normally are required to check that everything is correct. Yeah. Um, I think it can be, for somebody that has no idea, it can be a very difficult task. And this is why I did put it up. Maybe it would be required that there is some kind of support for this specific technical task. Yeah. But that's
I mean, I
something I
guess
think we need to revisit.
if we're not going to open it up to everyone, what if we just in the beginning make it for mods and admins? So once a phase 3
Yeah.
gets approved, basically the mod and admin initiate it in GitHub.
Yeah, that was my idea basically.
Okay.
Because like if there's just a group of 5 people, we can do this. We can do a couple of training sessions together. And like, yeah, if you have done it 2-3 times and seen it 2-3 times and tried it 2-3 times, with 5 people, this is an easy task to do, to learn this. But potentially 500 people that would one day create a thing and then would have to follow such a guide. It would, I think it's a big hurdle, and maybe potentially would people would say, no, I have to do this myself. I have no idea. Nah, I can't. Yeah, I just can't. Yeah. Because even if you do a guide will be 10 pages, 15 pages with screenshots and things like this. Pretty complex. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm. So this maybe we say,
Okay, about that.
yeah, yeah.
And then anyone in the group object to such a decision that we can mark solved? Okay. Click solved.
Okay, and then basically the last thing would be, what is possible in Discord to define trust level for having several ways of login? Give recommendations on if and which of these levels we should use. What other social media platforms can support? Ah, yeah, okay.
I
We
feel
talked.
like you can just delete this because this is under the other question, isn't it? And
Yeah,
Antonio's gonna
yeah,
inquire
yeah.
how to yeah.
That's basically. I think this was we talked about specifically, because if we would say, okay, we allow a login from Discord, that people from the IOTA Foundation Discord would then already get like a higher ranking, because they have kind of a trusted account from a protected site like the IF Discord. Uh, Basically, let's put this into the meeting with Antonio, and talk about this in more detail. What would make sense here? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we don't wanna segregate other social media platforms, but we just need to know
Yeah,
what other social media platforms are possible.
that's the thing. Yeah. And what of them would really make sense uh, to implement? Um, the the interesting thing is, like with what we did now with our Discord, is that basically we can kind of say that everybody that has an IOTA Foundation Discord account is somehow interested in the project and a part of the project. Yeah, you couldn't say this from Twitter or Reddit because I mean, you can always. That's the cool thing in Discord is you can only have a Discord account that is kind of if you are in a server. Yeah, Twitter or Reddit, kind of. I mean, you see there are 100,000 Russian Twitter bots that do political propaganda. So this is kind of a much more wild playing field for all kind of shady stuff than having then being a Discord server that is pretty restricted in the setup. So this is, I think, the interesting part would be really that we could keep shady practices away if we restrict it to only Discord. But also it would be a kind of an exclusive thing that we maybe don't want. Yeah, but this is something we need to talk about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, for anyone that's interested, we should be talking about this sometime tomorrow in general Discord.
Yeah.
General, with a couple of us focusing just on that, the trust level method.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, what do we say? It's already late for me. Does anybody has some general questions or comments on this meeting today?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify one thing. So now that we have, now we have discussed most of the points and solved as well.
Mhm.
Just to confirm on the next steps, is it then that we will like integrate this, like update the document, the governance framework document with this input, and
Yeah.
send it out so everyone would have like some time to review it and say that, for example, a certain deadline, and after that deadline, it will go as valid.
So for one, just to note, there's quite a few rows that were hidden there. So we still have more questions to go over. But I guess in my mind, similar to what we were thinking in the bridge fund is like, absolutely. Once, to me, this is the community developing, coming to consensus, agreeing on how that governance framework documents. So yeah, so that would need to probably be completely updated, maybe a second read through by everyone, and then that then goes to how do we communicate this to the full community? You know, Medium article, any of us in this group can tweet it out, kind of support that. So, you know, it's not like, I guess to me, what I would always like to avoid is, hey, 20 of us made this and, you know, sure, we put it up in Discord, but anyone out of Discord didn't get a chance to do it. So we want to include all the social medias, languages, etc., as best we can for a certain time period, and then we can put it to a vote, and then kick it off. Basically, that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anyone else.
Definitely.
Like maybe something that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you want
No.
to go or should I?
Yeah. Definitely,
Just
we
to.
will definitely write a blog post on this also from the foundation. I mean, like this is a fundamental thing. So once we have kind of found an agreement on this, the IF will definitely help in pushing this to the community. Like you said, otherwise it will not have enough eyes on it and agreement through the community. Yeah.
I think that like something that we can also do, we do that within ADPA, for example, every time that we publish a report and we want more feedback, we just like publish the blog post, but we also set a deadline of like 7 or 14 days, we can talk about the deadline later, to ask people to provide feedback, and then there's like a couple of people in charge of reviewing the feedback integrated. What I need to say is that like when we do that, we receive a lot of spam on the feedback, so that will be insane amount of work. I don't know if that should go to the admin or the moderators, or like how do you want to manage that. Just keep in mind that reviewing comments is getting through a lot of spam.
Yes. Yeah.
I and again, I see this as more community than sort of like an IOTA thing, and we should try to transition that to the community, which in my mind, should fall on the moderators to be sort of community liaisons, and in that Medium article say, hey, this is where the discussions are happening. It's happening in IOTA Governance channel, and invite people there, or create a Reddit page and let people comment there,
I mean,
and
but one thing, I mean, basically what we are doing here is now kind of we designing the thing to happen in the forum. So I think this should also be the first thing that really leverages the forum fully like proposed here. So I mean, basically my idea was always this would be posted once we have reviewed it. We will post it in the forum as a phase one post, uh, make public noise about it, and funnel all the discussions around this in the forum. Because for us, basically, we want actually everybody to use the forum as the single source of governance, truth, and information. Yeah. Still, of course, there will be discussions happening everywhere in Telegram and whatever, but basically, have this thing. In the discourse forum, also write a Medium article about it. Uh, I, definitely, the IOTA Foundation will write a blog post about this, because we basically what will happen when we have reviewed it. First of all, I will have to move this back to the foundation, because kind of there is still the foundation will need also to agree on the scope of governance, yeah, with let's say what things are proposed here. So I will move this back, get a review from the board basically about the scope and the things like this that we have talked about, not about the specific processes that we are talking now, but yeah, give it back there, and then we basically will kind of publish it and propose it as uh, the suggestion of the community of how it should work. Then the rest of the community can read through it, can comment on it. But then basically, I would hope that happens in the forum, um, as like
we
yeah,
can. I mean, on optics side, you want the community is choosing to implement this, yes, rather than the IF, but there's always the IF. What we could try too is even putting this proposal, like building it in. Sure, why I'm getting an echo here. Someone's got some, but if we actually build it out and run this exact proposal through the phases, and if Shimmer's live and we do the voting with Shimmer tokens, or B, Shimmer's not live and we still run it through the phases, but we do it with IOTA tokens, um, and we can do it that way. I just think until it's voted on by the community, we shouldn't segregate any sort of social media platforms to, we should get everyone, rather than, because there's still a lot of people that don't even know that you go to discourse to talk about governance. So I think we should just keep hammering that in different media platforms,
sure,
that's
sure.
where it's happening. But I'll just say, just because I heard you say that,
Mhm.
sort of, when we all agree on this final framework, you'll then take it to the IOTA board, let them review it, make any changes, and then post it live. I would just maybe
Yeah,
say,
not posted live, but then let's say
but
then
at least
yeah.
come back to the group to say,
Mhm.
hey, these are, because we do need to define that really clearly. What does this governance framework cover, and what does it not?
Yeah,
Like, doesn't include treasuries and doesn't include any technical implementations or anything that the IOTA Foundation protocol aspect.
yeah.
Um, So maybe talking to the board before doing the Medium article and coming back to the group, just if there's any
Yeah,
changes, and
this
then
this definitely this would be the plan. Yeah, so basically, if we, I don't know, but let's say in 4 weeks, we here in this Discord group say, okay, we've went through all of this. This would be basically our proposal that we would want to see to go live. Then I'll give it to engineering basically, because there are the things about the scope of governance, because then also engineering will maybe potentially have to make a little bit of a doc of which protocol parameters and things like this that would be then become part of the of the doc, and then we can write an article and leverage it out to be reviewed by the rest of the community. Um, get some last feedback or something, and then move it through the things and put it up for a vote once it moved through the stages in the forum.
I kind of think we need to map that process actually. We should
Yeah, I was
like
just gonna
actually
say.
discuss like how that will look like. Are we going to just like finalize this, then go for feedback, then go to IOTA, or are we going to go to IOTA and then request the feedback? Because the thing is that if you go to the IOTA board first and then you collect more feedback, the last version will need review again. So
Yeah,
maybe we can create like more like an iterative approach with them, or we just like have like a meeting where we present what we have so far, and then they just provide some feedback, we incorporate it, and then we talk to the community and what like who is the community. So I think that like it's important to define how that will look like, so we all align in the process and it's not like a surprise at the end.
let's mark that as like a question, and again, that really this once we go through all the questions and get the content close to finish, then we can look at how do we finalize it, communicate it, get it approved, etc.
yeah.
And like, and I hear Mariana, when you say feedback, just to clarify, what is that? What is the feedback?
I was just talking in general because we were talking about like going back to the community. So if you present the document to the overall IOTA community and say like this is what we got, you can comment. You are going to receive comments. So those comments are the one that I'm interpreting as feedback. As well as if we go to the board, it's not like they would just like check and say like, oh, it looks perfect, everything. They might have some comments. So those are the ones that I'm calling feedback. So we can call it comments, we can call it suggestions, we can call it feedback, whatever like fits you better.
Maybe we all should. Maybe I'll try to put a post too on Twitter. I mean, because I think from day one we've always tried to articulate that governance decisions are being made, but they're being made here in Discord. So if anyone wants to have their say, let's say, they need to be here in these meetings. It, to some extent, can't like we all do all these meetings, we all put in the time, and then we propose something, and like 5 people say, "Oh, I want to do it totally different." It's like, well, I'm sorry, didn't really see you in any of those meetings before, but yeah, I mean, I think that process can be defined a little
Hmm.
towards the end,
Yeah.
maybe,
I mean,
or someone, or we could start working on it,
yeah.
and then discuss that as a question too. Just to note, after unhiding the questions, polls and voting is quite a lot, quite a big category, which I think is great, which might even tie in with proposals. So probably after we knock out the trust level one, and I forgot off the top of my head, but the one we're doing Monday, we could probably then go tackle the whole category polls, voting, and proposals by a action group. Maybe discuss that Tuesday and spend the week knocking those out, and then we just have some stragglers after that. We'll be pretty much 90% done. So
Yeah.
just
Just
thought.
one last comment on like your first statement. Like I think that like regardless of like how vocal we are, like it's going to be people that comes at the end and says like I have another idea that we're not involved in the group. So my suggestion to mitigate that, like maybe Philo, we can just like talk about it later, is just like to like even though without like even with our like own Twitter accounts, just to invite as much people as we can to join these meetings and kind of like say that this is the opportunity to contribute. So if someone
That's
comes at the end and say like
yeah.
I don't like it, we say like, well, we post like 120 twitters, you have opportunity to say you didn't like it back then.
Yeah. I mean,
100%.
that's basically already happening. Kind of. I mean, I do this every day, every week. The IF retweets most of my tweets about the governance thing. I think I'm pretty. I also post every day already since a couple of weeks in the German Telegram group. All of them have access to this document. All of them are invited to comment in the document. Um, Basically, I don't think that like when we have worked another 2 months on this whole thing, that we will then need to let another 2 months of comments from the latecomers in. This is not how this whole thing. I mean, basically everybody knows, like you said, JD, the stuff is happening here in Discord. Who is not interested in participating um, will not participate. Yeah, that's like, and you can't avoid the latecomers. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
make it quick. This is going to be an issue for the community when we start doing community DAOs and Treasury DAO especially. Like I definitely believe there should be a process, and it just sort of in communication. Like I don't think we should like, hey, we're hearing your comment and your feedback. We unfortunately can't make a decision. And what I always thought was good with the Treasury DAO was to say, hey, we hear you. It's actually a really good point, but we've already finished. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, you didn't understand the meetings, but submit this as a proposal once it goes live. And if the community supports it, we can make that change, which is really cool. Different versus, let's just say, IOTA saying they're going to do a build assembly and, hey, give us feedback. Like there's after that there's no change in it, you know what I mean? Like whatever we build really can be changed. It's just going to be changed through this proposal framework, so if anyone's really frustrated and said, well, I don't agree with this, and well, hey, sorry you weren't in the meetings, but submit this proposal in 2 weeks once it goes live, and if the community supports it, we'll make the change then.
Hmm.
And I think that should diminish a lot of that, if anyone's truly upset, rather than just saying like, hey, you weren't there, this is it, it's going live, there's no way it's ever going to change. It's like, well, it could
I
change, you
mean,
just
no,
have
of
to put
course,
a
yeah. It's of
proposal in.
course it's made to change. Yeah, it's made to
Right,
change, but
exactly.
it has to go live.
At some
It has
point,
to go live, and once it's live, then it's free. Then everybody can use it to change and to whatever. But we can't wait another 4 months to implement every little corner of thought process that everybody some because we will basically we will talk too much and do too less, and in the end we will hinder actually the progress of the whole project when we don't have a way to get decisions done. Yeah, and like I mean, we have the YouTube channel. Everybody can rewatch hours of meetings if they are interested. It's all there. It's all in the open. It's all public. I mean, I don't think we can do much more without being seen as. Yeah, most people are not interested in participating on this level like we do. Um, this is what we have seen over the last year in all the treasury discussions and all the things. Um, yeah, so yeah.
there's always trolls.
Yeah, there's always trolls. You will have them. So put this thing through our process. Agree on it in the people that participate here weekly. Um, get feedback from my EFA last time. Put it up into the process in the forum. Um, follow the process that is proposed. Yeah, make a poll. If the poll after 7 days sounds good, we put it in Firefly. People will vote on it or will not vote on it, and then we'll see what's the outcome. Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Okay, everybody.
I think it's also
Hmm?
if we start to like, I know I have some people's Twitter and connected with them on Twitter, but if we want to also maybe have it so that we can all share each other, like, hey, this is me, because sometimes it's hard to see, our Twitter addresses might not necessarily match our Discord. So if you want to share those, we can also create kind of a follow back um, kind of system on Twitter, so we can start to make it so more of the IOTA community is connected that way.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know, Twitter list or something. I don't use those other features, but I think there are some features like a list or something like this.
Also, do you want to volunteer to collect the Twitters to send them to Andy? Or like send it to the Discord or like coordinate with Philo how to do it?
What if anyone that wants to post, they could just post in the discussion channel? Because maybe some people don't want to post it.
Of course, voluntary basis as always.
Mm. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with Philo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm anyway always going. I'm normally always posting. I'm always tweeting when the meetings are, what is part of the meeting, and I also always post the link of the video of the recordings. And usually minimum once a week, or two times a week, the IF retweets my tweets when the meetings are happening. We have it in the IOTA quick takes now every week when those meetings are happening and also what is part of the meetings. We yeah, that's kind of the IF is definitely also pushing this thing now to yeah. And then if we start to retweeting it from other accounts again and again and again also, I mean, yeah, we're gonna reach out. And like I said, I'm also kind of nearly every day posting in the big German Telegram group about all the things. Um, I always publish also the videos there. I publish the meeting protocols there. Because this is kind of the biggest group that is kind of outside of our Discord here, to get them involved. And if they want, they can always. They are always super invited to be. But if they don't, then they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So everybody, it's late for me. So thanks everyone for staying alive here, and we will be some point tomorrow here with Antonio, talk about some details around login and trust level and things like this. And then anyway, next meeting is on Tuesday next week. And basically next week after our meeting on Tuesday, we will no on Wednesday we also have a meeting, and then on Wednesday we have the first session with Bankless. Bankless DAO introduces Aave Grant's treasury program. And from this time on, like the next 3 weeks, we will have kind of a lot of those meetings where Bankless DAO is introducing different treasury management systems of communities in DLT. 5 different ones will be presented also here in the general channel to the community, so that we also work a bit along the way in establishing the IOTA treasury. But Tuesday, it's time again for Shimmer governance framework. Okay.
All right.
Everybody have a nice evening.
Good night.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Right.